Chris Belfry again from belfrywellness.com. In today's video, we're going to really talk about fear and how we can let it go, really overcome our fears. And I'm going to give you a little healing meditation. It's a 20-minute healing meditation. Hopefully I can attach it to the end of this video. If I can't, feel free to email me at chrisbelfry@gmail.com and I'll send that video or that meditation to you. Some of you may already have it and have given me great reviews. So yeah, if you want it, let me know. So today's video, we're going to talk about fear and how, it's really a culprit of a major issue going on in our society. And really what it comes down to is we only have two emotions, love and fear. So if you really look at all the negative emotions, they all really stem from some kind of fear. You worry is really a fear of something. You're angry. Usually there's because of some kind of, you're missing something or you're lacking something, but it's a fear of losing something, a fear of missing something. But if you really look at all the emotions, they really stem at the core being fear. So that's why I worked on a video to help you work on some of that fear. And a lot of times it's unknowingly, it runs against in our subconscious. You don't necessarily know that this fear is affecting maybe your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and this fear is basing your decisions on how you're going to move forward in your life. And we talked about a lot of that in our previous videos, but fear stops you from moving forward. And we talked about making that next step, but sometimes that fear is what's holding you back from making that next step. So it keeps us small, it shrinks, keeps us small. And definitely there is obviously a healthy fear. If you're looking both ways to cross the street, obviously you don't want to get hit by a car. You might have fear of, something being hurt. If they travel, there's all these fears that, are logical fears or healthy fears to have. But there's also many that really rob us of keeping us small and preventing us from being that potential that I see in everybody. So it really affects our decision making. So let's really talk about fear more. We're called like sissies. You can't be afraid of things, especially men. Men are, you got to be strong and you have to be fearless. And and if you're not, it elicits some kind of shame or you feel guilty about having this fear. And so really, how do you notice you're really ruled by fear in your life? One is, perfect way is you always try to find or achieve, you need perfection. So you have to have this need to be perfect, meaning you're afraid to be criticized or afraid of failure, fear of rejection. And so you're trying to be perfect, and really that's an impossible task. So it prevents you from possibly being, having real intimacy with people, being loved, really being accepted for who you are, because you're trying to mask this thing of perfection that's really unattainable. Another thing would be you settle. You may be settled for a job. You may be settled for a relationship. You may be settled for, where you are financially. And really what that stops you, because you could get out of any of those situations, maybe apply for another job, but we're comfortable. We use this fear like, maybe I don't have that degree or I don't have that one specific, credential. And there was even a book I read. There was a story where a company ran an article where there was the exact same duties. So it was like general duties that really could apply to anything. And what they did was they attached one at $90,000 and one at $40,000. Which one? And it was menial tasks like cleaning and, executive kind of position where it's just working for an executive, an assistant position. And it really was not meaningless tasks, but it wasn't like a difficult job. So it was like cleaning and light duty stuff. And more people, like I think it was like 80% of people applied for the $40,000 job versus the $90,000 job. And it was really the exact same article, or the exact same job posting. And really what it was fear. So people think, $90,000, so it must be something more than what they're posting. You have to maybe do more. So they're afraid to actually post for that higher paying job. So it's really, you're kind of setting your bar low for who you are. So that's again, settling again. Saying yes when you really should say no. And we talked about in that power of saying no. So being fearful of saying no might hurt somebody's feelings. You might, you're being a people pleaser. You don't want to do that. It's more like self-sacrificing behaviors that you may have that lead to some resentment. That's definitely me. When I used to practice, I would not say no to people, and people would come. I'd work till 6. People would come at 7:30, 8 o'clock, when they said they'd be there at 6:37. And so I'd wait around, and I would not eat in. And normally I'd go to the gym after work, and I was becoming resentful of my job, not the people, but my job. And so I started not really loving, really helping people. And so I realized I had to start saying no, for not just for me, but for my clients. Saying no when you really want to say yes. And so that's the opposite, but this is more about, you really want to go whitewater rafting, but you've heard bad stories, you're afraid to do that. And so fear stops you again. You really want to have a baby, but you've heard the stories of the terrible twos, and you're fearful of what's next. Fearful of being a mother. You might screw up the baby. There's so many things I've heard. Another thing people do is sometimes they numb themselves. So if you're fearful of moving forward, we numb ourselves with over work. You can't be in our minds. We're fearful of being in our heads because the story's always running, that we have to have keep ourselves busy, or numb the voice, so we can listen to what we're trying to do, or trying to say to ourselves. So we use alcohol, job, overwork, sex, television, our cell phones, those types of things. We procrastinate. So sometimes, I'm guilty, or I was guilty of doing that. I was afraid to move to the next level, especially with these videos. So I procrastinated. Tomorrow I'll do it. The next day I'll do it. So procrastination. Another one would be you get paralyzed. So you're really afraid to make any kind of decisions. So you just don't do anything. So you, instead of, trying to move forward, you're afraid to make any kind of decisions. You just stay where you are. So it's not about procrastination, because you have ideas, you want to do these things, but you just don't finish them. You're a bit of a control freak. So a lot of that's fear. You need to micromanage everything because things might get out of control. Maybe you're control freak around money because you have this fear of lack. So you control every kind of aspect of the ins and out of the money. Maybe you control your children. Sometimes I see that with people, how they control their children because they're afraid they're going to fall or get hurt. And you see these helicopter parents because they're so fearful of the kid bumping into something and that's going to hurt, and but that's normal for kids, right? Another thing is that I see lots is fear makes us sick. In my office, people can fear is stress. You want to procrastinate, but you're stressed because you're not. So this fear creates this stress, and this stress in turn creates inflammation in the body. So I see people with aches and pains, joint stiffness, joint aches. I've seen people, even fear can lead to cancer in some people. Autoimmune disease is common in a lot of people that create fear. Chronic pain, low energy, backaches, headaches. These are all things that I would see based on a lot of fear, or driven in fear. So if you're driven in fear, again, email me and I'll send you that email if I can't seem to attach it if you don't see the link. Anyways, take care, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.